There is something truly elegant about vintage silver and gold, and these two beautiful pieces hark back to a history of precious metal ownership throughout time, and it's absolutely stunning to see them here. And I'm going to talk about whether or not they're any good and whether they have a place in a modern stack. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for this week's In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver or gold. Now today we have two very cool things to look at, this beautiful 10-ounce Engelhard and this 5-tolus gold square from Johnson Matthey, 996 bullion. We'll talk more about that as we go. But these are vintage pieces of precious metal from times gone by. The Engelhard dating back to probably the 1980s, but the Johnson Matthey Square even further back to the 50s and 60s. Two beautiful pieces and bits of history from the precious metal world, and I couldn't say no to them when I saw them come up for sale. But should we even be considering pieces like this that come at quite a bit of a premium? Are they stackable? Are they collectible? Are they investable? That's what I like to ask myself about pretty much anything that I buy that's precious metal for my stack. So we'll comment on that as we go throughout this video, and I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions as we do. So please feel free to comment down below. And if you have not subscribed to our channel and you like this kind of video, it's a good chance you'll like the ones that we make in the future. So hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up too. So both of these came up for sale on the Silver Forum, and I was immediately enamored by them both. In fact, the Johnson Matthey Square, it was so popular when it came up for sale, I messaged the seller within a few minutes of it going up. But unfortunately, somebody else took it. Now, he did say he'd come back to me if that other seller fell through. And lo and behold, the next day, that seller did indeed not follow through with the purchase. So I got the opportunity and I was very happy to take them up on that. It's a beautiful piece of history, a wonderful part of precious metals kind of past, and it's absolutely beautiful, really weighty. So 5-tolus is the weight that this is united in. And a tolus is a sort of an older version of weight measurements for precious metals. It was very common in India, Pakistan, Singapore, where it's in fact still used today as a common unit of measurements. And the biggest, or sort of the most common anyway, is the 10-tolus. And a tola is worth about 0.375, well exactly 0.375 of a standardized troy ounce. So this being a 5-tolus piece gives you a weight of 1.875 ounces of gold. So a really very nice chunky piece, and you can feel that density in it. I know it's very difficult to convey density through a video, but it is beautifully heavy, and having handled bigger pieces of gold, I can feel that density growing more that I hold. It is very, very special indeed. Now, what makes this very interesting is the purity on it is 996 fine bullion. Now, this really does hark back to the 1950s or 60s, where technology wasn't as good as it is today. It wasn't as easy or possible or financially viable to make the pure 999 plus gold and silver. So the more traditional common weights were to refine it as high as they could to a decent cost expenditure, and it tended to be this 996. And we don't really know an exact date of this. These were approximately 1950s, 1960s. As you can see, Johnson Matthey, London. Johnson Matthey, a very, very well established bullion creator or manufacturer at the time, and throughout history, very collectible as well. So to have 996 fine is fantastic, and that's one of the reasons why I've got this Sigma machine out here, just to have a quick look at that purity, just to see whether we are even in the realms of 996. Because one of the things about buying vintage pieces like this is sometimes they are worth faking because of the complete massive premiums that come on top of these. So it is always worth double checking as best as possible. Now, the seller I bought this from happens to work for a bullion exchange basically, so I have no doubt that they tested it very well to an XRF standard. But here I have only my Sigma at home. So now I've put it onto 999 fine gold. Now that's not the perfect setting for this, and this is why these machines are not actually that brilliant in the mainstream. They are fine for seeing if there's a mistake or an error, but they don't have, of course, a 996 setting. But what this does is it's very close to 909, and it does show that even if there is just a couple of decimals out on a 909 fine silver or gold piece, that the Sigma will detect that there's something not quite right about it here. So you can see this little bar is out of the brackets, which is definitely indicating that something is not quite right. When we turn it over to the other side, a little bit further out, but I have a suspicion that's because of the slight indent that's on the bar there. And you can see, as long as you've got it pretty much in the middle, you're looking at to the right of the bars there, and it's not quite 999 fine, but it's very close. You might imagine that there could be a potential reading where it would be in the brackets. And just to make doubly sure, when I got it, I put it on the next higher setting, which you can see there's a 98.6. So we're going to try that and see where that goes. And you would expect this now to be to the left of the brackets somewhat. And there you can see it's quite a long way to the left, that arrow there. So we're still a long way off. So I'm pretty sure with all the degree of certainty that I can ascertain from home that this is, of course, genuine gold. Now, in terms of the collectability, these are very popular. At the time of purchase, I think the premium was around about 10, 11%, something like that. I'll have to check the maths. But that's not a lot. That is not a lot at all. And I've bought brand new 2022 gold for 5-6% over spot. And to have that history that's involved in it, that's something that I think really sings to me, that history there for this. You are less dependent on finding a premium at the other end when you're selling. You can just hold it and wait for those gold prices to go up that 10%, 11, 20% to make those returns if you want to, or you wait and you find the right buyer for it, because this was exceptionally popular when it came up on the Silver Forum for sale. The only issue with it is because of its size, it does make it quite an expensive piece. So when you do try and find a buyer, you've got to find someone with the cash to do it. So that then brings me on to the next kind of end here, which is, of course, collectible and investable silver. Now, of course, if you have gold bars, they're inevitably going to be much more expensive, but silver vintage bars do represent this slightly cheaper way of being able to collect and invest in these types of bits of history. And I would highly recommend holding and enjoying an old silver bar. It is quite special, it's quite nice. And this, being probably older than me, made in, I'm reading Massachusetts here, there's a fantastic Engelhard website called All Engelhard, not All Hengelhard. I'll put a link to it down in the description below, but it's basically a really good database of all the different types of Engelhard bars that are out there, because there are a lot of them out there. And you can see all of the different types and specimens. And from what I'm understanding on there, this is a 7th series. I don't have an exact kind of decade when these were made, but I believe the 7th series was around the 1980s, because there's a lot of talk about the Hunt brothers around these bars purchasing a lot of these at the time. And so you can see whether or not certain ones are even more valuable. So there are some of the 7th series with this P serial number here that were very, very low in their serial numbers. And I believe it's between 700 and 900. And those had absolutely minuscule mintage with slightly different designs. You can see here there's a space between the 99 and the third 9. And that was because at one point there was a decimal point there for some of the bars. So they've obviously just changed that or taken it out to then put it into this design for this particular bar here. Now, these are absolutely fantastic as great sort of desk pocket pieces or whatever you want to have, just something to have and to enjoy. They're collectible, they've got premium on them, and for context here in the UK, I bought this at £300, so £30 an ounce. And if you look at some of the other bullion items that you can buy at the moment from places like big dealers, you'll be paying £28 an ounce. In fact, some dealers will be charging you way more than £30 an ounce for just a Britannia. So to have these at a really, really similar price to brand new bullion, piece of history, in my opinion, you can't go far wrong with them. But of course, about liquidity, with anything vintage, you've got to look how it's going to get you the cash out at the other end. And there's no doubt that these are in that premium realm. Oh, that tink was nice, wasn't it, when we put that gold on the silver? There we go. There's no doubt that these are premium products. These will hold, those premiums well, in my opinion, I think. As to whether or not you can ever find a right gem, it's always worth checking. If you see somebody advertising an Engelhard bar like this, always just check whether or not it's one of the really rare ones, because there are a lot of rare ones out there and a lot of very collectible ones out there. Engelhard, Johnson Matthey, these old brands, they really do hold a lot of sway. And it is fascinating to see that market and to get these bits of history. So I love them. I think they're great. I think these will be certainly something to hold on for a while, and then at the right moment, when it's right for me, maybe look to sell them and release those premiums if they've gone up or gone down, or just generally there to enjoy. You know, I'm a stacker and collector. I'm a collector in, well, what am I? An investor in collectibles. That's what I call myself. I had to remember there for a moment. I think that holding something like this that's desirable, you know, it's the kind of silver and gold that I'll like to buy all day long right now. So silver and gold prices are quite interesting right now. We've got gold at a pretty high. I mean, it's not the highest it's been, but it's certainly a lot higher than I'm used to when I buy. So at the moment, if I'm buying gold, it's buying something like this, which is a little bit different, a little bit unique, something that's not going to come up very often. Yeah, I could wait and see if another one of these comes up for sale within the next couple of months when silver or gold is down. But the chances of that, I don't know. It's not necessarily right. So for me, this represents a diversification, a hedge, something different. These just are a bit of a fancy for me. I like them. I think they're beautiful and well worth having. So there we have the 10-ounce Engelhard and the beautiful Johnson Matthey Square. Let me know your thoughts on both of these pieces down in the comment section. I'd love to know what you think. I would love to know as well which is your favourite. I have a suspicion that all of you beautiful shiny magpie lovers will have the gold as your favourite, but that Engelhard does have some real charm to it. So let me know down in the comment section. As I said at the start of the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. It'd be great to see you on the next one. Otherwise, that's it from me. We'll see you next time. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.